Welcome to the Austin Method, where we help you develop the skills of square dancing. This segment is called Behind the Scenes. This is where we share things with you other than the skills we're already sharing in the Austin Method. So here's the deal. Why don't we cheat in square dancing? Other than the obvious ethical questions, dancers and students quickly figure out a concept we call equivalence. In other words, two calls can perform the same function. Pass through and pull by, they do the same thing. Half sachet and roll away, they do the same thing. These are called equivalents, and dancers and students often figure that out. Another one is square through four. Of course, you haven't done that one yet, but that's just turn and face your neighbor, or your corner is the equivalent for that. So you say to yourself, okay, so if there's equivalence and somebody calls half sachet, why can't I do a roll away? I like it better. It's more smooth. I get to roll her across me. Roll away. I'd rather do a roll away than a half sachet. Because you develop a bad habit. If you always roll away when they call half sachet, when you need to do a half sachet, will you remember? When you need to do a half sachet and you're already halfway through a roll away, what do? How do you recover? And by need to, I mean that there are things later on that you're not even aware of now, such as fractionalization. Somebody might call half sachet once and a half. If you do a roll away once and a half when you were supposed to do a half sachet roll once and a half, it's not the same thing. There's a concept that comes later called and roll. If you're not doing a half sachet and roll, or you're not doing a roll away and roll, you're going to be facing the wrong way. So these are bad habits that you need to get under control and not get into right away. And by that, what I mean is, we don't want to be the square dance police. We don't want to say, oh, don't have fun, don't do a little this or that, don't make up your own stuff as you go along. And nobody is, nobody will. But you are responsible when you start doing things like that for making sure that you're doing that doesn't break down the square. For instance, we have things called flourishes. Flourishes are little twirls and embellishments that we add to calls just to make them more fun, just because we can. But if you decide to do a flourish, you then become responsible for what that flourish does to the other dancers. If your flourish keeps other dancers from doing what they're supposed to do or unnecessarily confuses them and breaks down the square, you got to take some responsibility for that. But a flourish, can be a cheat for an equivalent, or they can be totally different. The other thing you got to watch for is you mess with the flow. Caller's trying to establish a flow. So I mentioned that square through four is the same as step in and face your corner. Well, there's no flow to step in and face your corner, but if you were squaring through, there'd be flow. So now you've just destroyed the caller's choreography. What, because you didn't want to take 3 steps? Careful how you do things like cheating and flourishes. Not saying don't do them, but make sure that you're dancing solid first, that you've got good habits for what you're supposed to do, and that you're consciously choosing when not to, and that choice you take responsibility for. That's it. Make sure to like and comment before you go. This is the way YouTube tells other people that you found this material engaging one way or the other. Comments are always appreciated. Likes and shares, of course, are much appreciated. And remember, however well-informed and carefully considered they may be, the opinions expressed here are solely my opinions and don't necessarily reflect the opinions of others involved in this production. Thank you for visiting the Austin Method. We hope to see you on the dance floor soon.